Good morning, students. Welcome back. So in the previous session, we discussed about, what is an essay. I told you. So I also told you that in the next session, we are going to talk about different types of an essay. So let's go ahead. What are the different types of an essays? Essays can be of different types depending upon the purposes. Depends upon the topic. You have to go ahead with different style, different structure, and the kind of content you're going to place in it. So all essays are of not same category. You need to take certain kind of precautions while writing, basing on those topics given to you. Okay. So what are the main or major kinds of, types of essays? Descriptive essay, narrative essay, informative essay, argumentative essay, exploratory essay. So descriptive is nothing but describing about an incident, describing about a person, describing about a place. Narrative is nothing but we all know narrating an incident, a story, an occasion, festival, what happened on that particular day, something like that. Informative is nothing but you need to provide information. So when you're writing such essays, you need to do lot and lots of groundwork because whatever you convey should be very much accurate. Okay. Argumentative, it is more or less debate. This also you need to take kind of precautions while writing it, how you're presenting your point of view and what others really think about this particular topic. Okay. Exploratory is nothing but explaining clearly, giving suggestions or remedies about a particular activity or particular incident, whatever it is, an issue. Okay. So slowly we'll go ahead how to start about writing about each and every type of an essay. Coming to the very first one, descriptive essay. As I told you, describing. So when you're describing something, students, put it in mind that you have to do it completely. You can't stop somewhere abruptly. You need to give a clear-cut information about the description of the object or place or whatever it is. Okay. So do not limit yourself only whatever is being physically observed. So which you can't observe, which you can't visualize. Also you can be able to describe about it using words like about the hearing, about the touching, about the feel. You have to use words to when the reader reads it, they visualize that particular incident or that particular character or that particular place. Okay. So don't even leave the minutest or the tiniest details when describing something. They're significantly important. Okay. Next, when you're really writing about, don't add irrelevant information. As I told you before you start writing something, what exactly I'm going to write in this particular essay? What are the keywords to be covered in this particular topic? So when you start thinking like that, definitely you will avoid irrelevant elements. Okay. So when you're writing, step by step, start thinking what comes first, what comes next. This is very, very important when you're describing about it. People should be able to visualize, think about it, imagine about it. Okay. So an example I gave you, my city at rush hour. So, the horns, the people begging on the roads, the kind of people busy rushing to office. How exactly you describe it. Each and everything is very, very important. Okay. The next one, narrative essay. As I told you, we start narrating stories. We are very good at it. Okay. So narrating incidents, experiences, failures, how exactly you're going to narrate it. It is from your particular point of view, you're going to narrate it. It's your personal perspective. Okay. So when you're narrating something, you need to give precise information, the correct information, the right word in the right place. When you're narrating something, when they're reading, they should be able to, step into your shoes, how exactly you experienced, what exactly happened to you that time. Okay. So when you're adding, it should be in a sequential, it should be in a chronological, linking up sentences. And the kind of language what you use should be very much brief, brevity should be maintained, it should be concise, it should be very clear. Okay. So narrating, yeah, we are good, but use good vocabulary when you're narrating something. Okay. So for example, I gave you the day tsunami struck. Okay. Excuse me. Next, I'm talking about the informative essays. as I told you, informative essays, you're conveying information. When you're conveying information, you should very well know about the topic. When you're saying something to people, when you're venting out your ideas in the form of an essay, you need to add, the evidences or proofs, which supports your statements. So before writing such essays, you need to do lots and lots of groundwork. You need to search many books and, take many ideas to support whatever sentence you write. It becomes a statement, so you should be able to support your statement. Organize the information what exactly you have collected and frame them, in sentences. It can be in any particular, when you're giving information, it can be in the kind of, compare and contrast. For example, I'm talking about mobile phone, a mobile like Samsung and Nokia. How do I compare and contrast? You give the information about how it looks, the features, the warranty period, everything, how exactly you're giving information. It can be in the form of compare and contrast. It can be causes and effects. It can be more important to less important. So you should have an idea in what way I'm going to give the complete information. Okay. Here also, when you're giving information, the language should be very formal. It should be very formal, the precise language, use concise words, appropriate terms, use technical jargon. For example, you're talking about artificial intelligence. You can use computerized language like, decoding and coding and all. But when you're using normal, giving normal, depending upon that particular field, you can use the kind of jargon. Otherwise, it will become very difficult for a common man to understand those terms. Okay, so avoid jargon. If it is going ahead with a particular field, you can use the terms of that particular, technical terms of that particular field. Okay, give the complete data. When you're giving information, your information should be complete. Okay, so all these are very, very important. So writing an informative essay needs more information. So you need to have clarity first, then you start writing such essays. Okay, for example, topics like artificial intelligence or variable technology. Okay, students, going ahead, exploratory essay, explaining about something. This is also again very, very important and difficult. you know uh, the kind of problem which you're taking, or the kind of, issue which you have taken, what kind of analysis you have did, because you're explaining this, because of this problem, this is what I analyzed, and because of this, the problems are solved. So it should be again in a chronological order. So you talk about the complexity of the particular problem, where you reach how the problem has occurred. And you can also go ahead talking about, suggestions. Now, don't be very much narrow giving your own suggestions. Generalize the suggestions. Okay, it should not be too broad. It should not be too narrow. Okay, be very clear in giving, suggestions. Like, if you follow such methods, you can avoid such problems. Okay, this is very, very important. And there should be a slight argument, but it should not be carried away with argument. It should not be a debate, because you're explaining about an issue. Okay, here also it is very formal, students. The kind of words what you're using should also be very clear. For example, disaster management practices in India. What are the challenges and what are the solutions? Okay. Coming to the last type, it is argumentative essay. The word itself tells you it is more or less a debate. Now, for example, reservation topics. They are argumentative. They are, the controversy topics. So it is not only your ideas, but also you are talking about someone's ideas. What exactly the other people think about this particular topic. Okay, so you should handle these type of topics very carefully. So it is like, it seeks to convince the reader. When you're writing something, when the reader reads, they should be able to understand in what point of view you have conveyed this information, what point of view you are supporting this particular topic. That is very, very important. And students, the argument should be constructed in a very careful manner. See, you can't blindly blame someone. You need to provide the evidences. Because of this is what happened, because of the politicians benefit, that's why they are focusing more on reservations. But blindly you can't just put it on politicians. How exactly it has started, why still they are extending it, why we are facing this particular problem called reservation in our country. So there should be an evidence, there should be a beginning, why still it is extending, in a very clear cut manner. Okay, so explain that controversy, explain the problem very clearly. And when you're doing it, it is more or less a debate. There are people who are benefited out of reservation. So from different angles, you'd be able to think about that particular topic. Okay, sometimes when you are writing, you yourself will feel that when you're writing the other person's point of view in your particular essay, you feel that it is correct. So urge the even though you're putting the other part into consideration, but still urge the reader that your point of view is correct. So you're against reservation, but sometimes when you're writing this essay, you feel that reservation is also benefiting people. Why it is benefiting people, how it is benefiting people, you have quoted some sentences, but when you're coming towards the end, you keep a target, in your mind, that when the reader reads it, they should support your statement that reservation is really very bad. This is what exactly is very, very important. Okay, for example, should Indian industry shift its focus from the services sector to manufacturing? Okay, as I explained you with the help of reservation. So argumentative essays are also very, very important, students. But very logically, you need to write, you need to understand, you need to project your point of view and convince the or readers or the audience that whatever you have conveyed is very much apt for them to adopt. Okay, I hope you understood the 4 types of essays, and definitely we'll go ahead, talking about each and every essay once again when I'll give the exercises. Thank you, students. Have a good day.